I think, first of all, I should start with my time on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. So when you're in Congress, you are rapidly trying to respond to the needs of your bosses, you are working to organize hearings, and you need the most up-to-date information in order to support your boss for drafting legislation, for putting out statements, for meeting with foreign officials, but you're not in the executive branch, and sometimes somebody from the State Department or the Defense Department can take some time to get back to you. So you need the best, most quick analysis that you can trust and have confidence in. And that's where places like the Washington Institute step in. I'm Dana Stroul. I'm the new research director here at the Washington Institute and the Shelly and Michael Kassen Fellow. I first became interested in the Middle East while studying at the University of Virginia for my undergraduate degree. I started out in the religious studies program, focused on Judaism and Islam, and then realized I was interested in everything and not just the religious studies aspect of the Middle East. I heard about the Washington Institute probably from when I was at the University of Virginia, because being a research assistant here at the Washington Institute is a huge opportunity and a very big deal, and was seen as a real achievement to be offered that opportunity coming straight out of undergrad. What makes the Washington Institute so special is that we have really specific subject matter expertise and real analytical and research-driven knowledge of dynamics and developments and decision-making shaping the Middle East. But we also have so many people here who have had policy experience, and it's that combination, that nexus. People who understand how to take all of that research and make it relevant to the people inside the US government and in Congress making policy decisions or seeking to shape and affect US policy in a way that leads to better outcomes in the Middle East. I've worked at the Department of Defense twice. I've also worked in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and so I've been able to have a role in US policy in the Middle East from a military and defense perspective, from an economic and political perspective. So with that experience, I will be able to work across the various programs and bring that real policy know-how to the regional developments that we study every day. The most recent role I just held in government was as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Middle East in the Office of the Secretary of Defense. So what that means in plain English is I was the top civilian leader with responsibility for Middle East defense policy on any given day, working directly with Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. I also represented the Department of Defense at a variety of meetings in the Middle East, maintaining our bilateral relationships, and spoke to a variety of organizations across the Middle East and here in Washington, D.C., in order to further U.S. interests and objectives in the Middle East. One broader global initiative that you all may have heard of is something called Women, Peace, and Security. And the idea here is that women make up 50% of the world's populations, at times in different countries more than 50% of the population. And if women don't have a seat at the table, a voice in critical processes to wind down conflict or prevent conflict, or critical roles and voices and leadership positions in how processes within their societies are developing, that you're not including 50% of your population, you're not on the path to sustainable or inclusive solutions. Frequently, when I was traveling across the Middle East, chairing big bilateral meetings, I was the only woman at the table. Or when we were hosting delegations here in Washington, D.C., I was frequently hosting them, but my entire American delegation would be men and our foreign delegation would largely be men. So I always made a point as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense when I was visiting countries across the Middle East of asking for women, peace, and security events. In Jordan, I was able to sit down with a female Jordanian colonel, the most senior position any woman in the Jordanian Armed Forces has achieved, and learn from her about the work she's doing to make space for women in the Jordanian military. I was able to focus the entire attention of the U.S. Office of Security Cooperation in Jordan and how meaningful it was to this colonel and all of her colleagues who were getting these opportunities because of her leadership and just asking for the meetings and just sitting with friends on the other side of the table actually makes a real significant difference and opens doors. It's already quite clear that 2024 is going to be a critical year for U.S. policy in the Middle East. My goal for the Washington Institute is that here we are a team that is forward thinking about developments and dynamics shaping the region now, but what are the opportunities and risks tomorrow and down the line? Thinking through what are the big dynamics shaping the region and how can scholars here at the Washington Institute positively contribute to and offer creative thinking and recommendations for the United States and U.S. officials inside the government. What's so exciting for me about returning to the Washington Institute in this new role is that it's not just returning to a professional environment, it's returning to a family and a community. People here have supported me throughout multiple different stages, both in my personal life and my career. The Washington Institute and Rob Satloff welcomed me here 5 months pregnant, supported me through having my second child and co-chairing the Syria Study Group with Mike Singh, gave me his blessing and support of the Institute when I entered government to serve as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. And I couldn't be more happy to end my time in government by landing back here. It feels like coming home.